Hello everybody, this is HG Shaves here. I'm back with another video. For those of you who live in the US like me, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving a couple days ago. We just had a meal by ourselves here. Kind of helps when we don't have any immediate family in the surrounding area. And instead of turkey this year, we decided we'd try salmon. Why not, right? The year was kind of strange and different enough since the beginning, so let's eat some fish instead of a bird for the holiday, right? Anyway, for the shape today, I'm going to be using, I think, all products that I've talked about previously on this channel, but might have been some time since I've last used them and spoken about them. First, I wanted to show you the brush, the Zenith B2, which if you're in the States, I believe they call it a B2. If you're in Europe, I believe it's BO3-A26. They're very strange with how they do their naming, I guess, practices. And so made in Italy, Zenith. It's got this very kind of ergonomic, practical barber style handle. And this is what the knot looks like dry. I wanted to show some people out there who have been sort of tracking the progress of this brush with me, how it's started to look. This brush has about, I don't know, maybe 40 uses on it by now. And of course the hairs on the side have already started to split, and that's been going on for, I don't know, that's happened since maybe 20 uses ago. And then now I've been happy that the center of this knot has started to expand and open up just slightly. When I originally got this brush, it was much thinner and kind of more vertically oriented. Now it's starting to kind of expand open. And the reason why I'm using this again is because I just really want to see if I can get this boar to a good place for me. I've tried a number of boars before, and I just wanted to have kind of one boar, and that was going to be it. And I wanted it to work well for me. But as with boars, you have to put in the time with them. And so the last time I was using this brush, it wasn't really getting it able to work for me. So I sent it to a sort of boar connoisseur, shall we say, who informed me, look man, the brush is fine, you just need to use it. So I'm doing that now, trying to use this brush. So I'm going to let it soak in some warm water while I continue talking to you about the other products. So the other highlight of today's shave, no doubt, is the Southern Witchcrafts Samhain, which I picked up last year, end of October, I think is when it was released. And this was my favorite soap scent of 2019. And it is just a terrific scent, as it says here in the front. Pumpkin, sandalwood, bourbon, tobacco. Those are kind of the primary notes, but there's also a lot more going on here. Maybe some oud, incense, stuff like that. To me, it's just a delicious kind of fall scent, a little bit dark, but there is some sweetness to it to kind of balance it out, which I would assume is maybe the bourbon, probably a sweet tobacco kind of smell, maybe the sandalwood. And yeah, I decided to go back and use this soap because I wanted to make sure I used it before the year was up. Not that you have to only use this in fall, but really for how much I love this scent, I should be using it more often than I do. So that will be the soap for today from Southern Witchcrafts. And then for the razor, this is a open comb Damaskeene. And I think it was in my Hecho SMA, the Mexican artisan shave soap review video, I used a different open comb Damaskeene. But this one I happened to win in a lot on eBay a little bit back, and I found that this one shaves quite differently to the other open comb Damaskeene, which I currently have being sent out to a friend to test out, see what he thinks of it. And I did a comparison of the side-by-side of the two razors with the help of a friend. He let me know that, well, there was something different in them, and not sure if that's how they were originally made, if they're originally made intentionally different, or maybe if one of the razors had been dropped in the course of its life, which caused its kind of head geometry to look significantly different. But this is a very mild, smooth shaver. To show you what it looks like when the blade's in there, it's, let's see. Yeah. It's surprisingly smooth and really stands out in that way. And I'm happy that this is so mild, because The other open comb Damaskeene that I have is kind of more middle of the road, and it's a good shaver, but it doesn't stand out like this does in terms of being just a very mild, smooth, comfortable, all those things to use. So that's my introduction here. I'm going to go ahead and start loading off the tub, and then I'll bring you back in when I'm ready to face lather and talk to you more about the things that I've been kind of considering with this Zenith Boar brush. So be right back. I have a fairly pasty load here on the brush, and now I'm going to start the face lather. So we're just going to put a little bit of water right onto the face of the brush here, why not? And let's just get into it. So the kind of issues I was having with this brush are not unique to this particular boar. I was finding that sometimes I would work up kind of a pseudo bowl lather, like I would press a smush of soap into a bowl, kind of work it up with this, and then would go to kind of finish working it into a face sort of lather. And I would find that sometimes my lather would just get totally washed out for some reason. I again consulted with some people who know more about boar brushes than I do, and they told me that what likely happened was when I was working around in the bowl, I perhaps wasn't working with great force, and so there was some water left maybe in kind of the higher part, or actually lower part of the knot, and perhaps it didn't get integrated until I started working on the face, and then it just washed it out because I wasn't accounting for that much water to magically, show up when I was sort of working around in the bowl. And so what I think I'm going to do with this brush is I'm going to try and stick with the Southern Witchcrafts base over the next couple weeks at least, to see if I can, really dial in this brush with this particular soap base, just for grins, just to see, how good a lather. And that was the other thing too, is even when, my lathers weren't getting washed out, I just wasn't really getting the best sort of lather with the brush, as my end product that I knew I could get with certainly my synthetics and even a couple of my badgers that I'm more intimately familiar with. Another good tip when you're using a brush like this is to really make sure that you're working it. As you see there, a lot of boar brushes that are kind of long, that are, have a high loft and don't have a lot of backbone, their tendency is to just be kind of painters, right? They look like paintbrushes. And so your sort of natural intuition is to do that with the brush, but that's not why I got this brush. I got this brush because I was sick of those sort of brushes, or kind of the opposite. That I also use brushes that had kind of low loft and felt just kind of not dense enough. And so the things that I do like about this brush that I think will become even better with time are that it's got a decently high loft that doesn't feel kind of, doesn't feel like stiff, but it's not, it's just sort of the just right amount. It's not too floppy, it's not too stiff. The other thing I like about it, it's a 26 millimeter knot size, which is more what I'm used to in terms of a knot diameter. But of course the bloom is gonna, probably make it feel even bigger. And then the last thing I like about it is the density. I had a pretty good Samog 610 there for a while, and I just found that it was too, there just weren't enough hairs in the knot. So, when I would go to do a spline motion like that with some Oak 610, it would just feel like there was nothing left when I was really splaying the brush like that. There was nothing left inside because it just wasn't a very dense knot. However, this Zenith, I think, has plenty of density for me, which also kind of contributes to the backbone in a kind of roundabout way, right? If a brush is more dense, it's going to kind of feel like it has more backbone, regardless of the loft. So I'm just painting in water as I go here. I'm gonna keep adding a little bit more, and then I'll bring you back in when I'm ready to do my first pass. Okay, we're back, and we're about to do the first pass here with the Damaskeene. So I'll talk to you a little bit more about the razor and the soap, perhaps. So with this razor, because it's so mild, you really do have to watch your angle, but kind of in a different way than you would normally expect. Normally you'd think, watch the angle because it's too aggressive of a razor and you might do some damage, but this one's actually the opposite. If you don't use the right angle, it's just not really going to cut or not going to cut very effectively. The good thing about this is because it's open comb, the open comb will kind of leave you some feedback, kind of in your lather. If you don't cut at the proper angle, you'll see it. And so that kind of has been nice as I've gotten more accustomed to using this razor. Because again, it's weird. I have used an open comb Damaskeene, as recently as a few weeks ago. But this is like night and day. I mean, this might as well be a different razor. It feels that different. So it just goes to show you that, especially with vintage razors, especially with like 100-year-old razors, it's worth checking each one out if you get a new one in. Because of course a lot can happen in 100 years. All right, first pass complete. Everything feels just very smooth and nice. And yeah, I'm gonna rinse and then bring it back in for pass number 2, just a sec. Okay, pass number 2, we'll go kind of across and with the green, some parts. So to talk to you a little bit more about the soap base, this is Southern Witchcraft's most recent base, as far as I know, which is to say, sorry, I forgot what pass we're on, which is to say I don't think they've changed or updated the base since like in the past year. And so this is, of course, their vegan soap. They don't offer any others at this point. They definitely pride themselves on their veganness, so to say. And it's definitely one of my favorite American artisan vegan bases. It's a relatively soft soap in the tub, which I think makes it easier to load out of. But it does take some water. So I was intentionally trying to overload with the Boar just to make sure I got enough lather in there. And as you saw, I had to add some water. I've always felt that the base feels a little bit gluey. And really kind of hugs your skin in that way. Great. So gonna rinse and then bring you back in for pass number 3. Okay, third and final pass, mostly against the grain. Okay, all good. So 3 passes and some touch-ups and really very close shave without really having to work very hard for it. So very comfortable razor, as I said. And yeah, I'm gonna rinse and put on a little aftershave balm and then talk to you real quick over post-shave. Okay, so I put on a little Zingari Unscented balm today. I've used some splashes this week and then used the balm sometimes. Easy choice this time of year. So, to do a little recap, the soap was Southern Witchcrafts Samhain. You can still get this, although it was originally released, I think, as a fall kind of seasonal exclusive. I think it's now available all the time. So definitely pick that up if you haven't smelled it. It's, like I said, it was my favorite soap scent of 2019. And, well, it won't be my favorite again this year, but it's still near the top, top 3, top 5 favorite soaps that I've used this year. So really terrific scent, and kudos to Courtney and Steven for making that happen. The gym opened and comb Damaskeene. So just goes to show that if you have one particular experience with a particular razor, somebody who has the same model razor might have a different experience just because of how these things can change over time, and maybe they were made differently in the first place. But yeah, really mild and comfortable shaver. So happy to have this in the collection now. And then finally, the Zenith B2 Boar brush. Breaking in nicely. That was one of my best experiences with that brush, I'd say, so far. So hopefully I can make it even better in the coming weeks as I stick with it and stick with the Southern Witchcraft soap base. All right, so that about does it for us today. I might do a video in the middle of the week when I shave this darn thing off, just as something to, I don't know, commemorate the end of November. But yeah, this will be going away soon, thankfully, and hopefully one of these days I can go get a haircut too. That would be nice. But so stay tuned for that if you're interested. And otherwise, this has been HG Shaves. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.